All right, welcome back to this second playlist video. The first one was just overwhelmingly successful. I expected to get 200 views. It got 72,000 views, over 1,000 comments, and 1,200 likes on the Spotify playlist. People have asked for me to do this monthly, so I'm going to try keeping up with monthly. So you can search on Apple Music and Spotify for Make Weird Music June 2024 for this playlist. And of course, I will have links in the video description so you can find them there. I'll also provide a plain text list. And if any of you want to create the same playlist in other services and just send me the link, happy to put that in the video description as well. The greatest reward of doing all of this was actually all of the messages I got from artists saying that they sold a bunch of new music and their streams increased and all that. So I'm super excited that so many of you went out to support the artists. So thank you very much for doing that. This playlist is less jazzy than the one from last month. So this one is a bit more diverse, and I feature more of the artists that we've covered on the channel before, so people can kind of like get a sense of what we're all about. There will be links in the video description for all of the artists, so you can learn more about them, and links to their Bandcamp pages in case you want to go support them there. If you want to support what we do here, you can click the join button on the bottom, below the video player on YouTube to join Club Weird. It's $3 a month, and it just basically pays the bills for the website, and you get early access to videos, and we can have more private conversations and that kind of thing. For this video, we have a score rubric here that I've made up. The score of 1 means it's a little weird, score of 2 means it's pretty weird, and score of 3 means very weird. We are going to start with a score of 2 track by Courtney, Swain, and Kyle Harris from their new EP called Thing. It came out in May 2024. This is the title track from it. Courtney is the singer from Bent Knee, an excellent rock band out of Boston. She's a prolific solo artist that we featured on the channel several times. We've interviewed her. She's awesome. Check out all of her music. And Kyle Harris is a drummer turned producer and sound designer whose music challenges the imagination of his listeners with surreal maximal sound worlds. That's what his bio says on his website. All right, let's check out this track. Yeah, the song gets, it kind of goes all over. It gets pretty exploratory later on. The whole album is just really interesting and diverse, very creative. I love how it turned out. It's a short listen, so you'll probably want to listen to it twice in one sitting. All right, this next album, or this next track is called On the Way to Oklahoma by a band called The Residents. Anyone who's followed this channel for a while is going to know that I'm a huge fan of The Residents. I love their work. They are a performance art collective, I guess you could call them. Started in Louisiana. They're kind of based in San Francisco now. And I've done interviews with some of the people associated with The Residents. And anyway, this album, Animal Lover, is just mind-blowing. I mean, I heard it when it came out in summer 2025 or 2005. And I was at work, and I just, from the moment I heard this song through the rest of the album, my jaw was dropped. And so I made this whole video series called Jaw Droppers, and you can find that on the channel. But this album was the inspiration for that series. And we've had a couple of music listening parties, and I've had friends over, and I'll play this song for them, and they're all just stunned. So hopefully you have a similar reaction. The Residents, On the Way to Oklahoma.
On the way to Oklahoma, I turned into a cat. My true love was a tiger, I'm sure you can see that. I called the tiger Dolly, it was my mother's name. On the way to Oklahoma, I finally became sane. On the way to Oklahoma, a voice inside my mind demanded that my senses expand in space and time. The voice revealed a feeling of heated ecstasy. On the way to Oklahoma, I feed upon a tree.
Seriously, that guitar solo and the lyrical content is just incredible. Okay, this next one is from a band called Buke and Gase, and it's a duet based in Hudson, New York. They are incredible. Well, the first time I heard them, I had no idea it was two people. I thought it was this full band, and then I saw a video on YouTube, and it's just the two of them playing several instruments at the same time. And the sound, I mean, it's just huge. I'm so glad that Animals as Leaders picked up on their just amazingness and has had them open for Animals as Leaders on a couple of tours at least. And there's a documentary about them on Amazon Prime, I believe. It's excellent. But yeah, it's two people named Aaron. One is a guy, the other's a girl. Aaron Dyer is the girl, and she is so creative, incredible voice, and she runs some really cool music projects outside of Buke and Gase. And Aaron Sanchez, he builds like custom instruments, including all the stuff for the Blue Man Group, all the crazy stuff that they do. They're on Brassland Records. This album came out in January 2019. I'd give this a score of 2. Let's check it out. Oh, man, so good. Okay, so love that. Whole album is incredible. I bought the record, the vinyl, and the CD, and I bought the digital copy. Just as much money as I can to support this album. Awesome stuff. This next track is from a band called the Moulettes, and I met them and heard about them through this Gentle Giant gathering called Gorg. They have close ties to Gentle Giant, the 1970s progressive rock band. And it's primarily two people, Hannah Moule and Ollie Austin, but they've had this amazing arrangement of different people through the band's history, including an electric bassoonist, great Jim Mortimer on the bass, Malcolm Mortimer's son. Just so many cool things going on there. I won't waste your time talking. They're very unique from the UK. And I gave this a score of 1. This track came out in February 2021. I've probably listened to this track 200 times. And I listened to it the other day putting this playlist together. And I was still just slack-jawed. Incredible piece of music. Got my son totally hooked on it too. He's listened to it dozens of times. Okay, so let's check this one out. Oh man, I got the chills just listening to. I've heard this song so many times. I don't know what it is. I'm like almost tearing up. Listen to it, buy it. It's incredible. Okay, the next track is called Kaiju Eats Cheeseburgers. This is from an artist that I have not heard of before I was putting this playlist together. Whoops. Sorry. By a guy named Sylvain Darrifourcq. He is a French percussionist, multi-instrumentalist, improviser, and composer. Sorry for mispronouncing the name. I'm sure I did. This album came out in September 2020. I give it a score of 2. Very interesting stuff. The whole album, and this track had the first, like, this one really stood out to me. So. Okay, maybe I need to upgrade that score to a 3. It's a 10-minute track, so there's a lot on there to digest. But hopefully that first minute gave you a little tease of it. This next one is Laurie Anderson. I gotta learn how to do this right. Laurie Anderson, you've probably heard of her if you're here. She had a song called Oh Superman. It was a huge hit in the 80s, and her albums are just all over the place. She's like experimental performance art from New York City, has done so much amazing music. This album, Bright Red, really stood out to me, and it's really dark and creepy. This track, The Puppet Motel, came out in 1994 on an album, I think it was produced by Brian Eno. I made a jaw-dropper video about this album, and I give it a score of 2. It's pretty weird. The whole album is just kind of like, it's just a great listen. Just sit down with headphones or a good set of speakers and check it out.
I live on the highway near the Puppet Motel. I log in every day. I know the neighborhood well. How about the residents of the Puppet Motel? More than a little spooky, and most of them are mean. They're running the numbers, they're playing cops and robbers down in the dungeons, inside their machines. You know it's really real, we had 4th-dimensional dreams. Their minds are out on bail now, real is only what it seems.
Okay, great album, great song. These 1-minute previews, man. I just want to listen to the whole thing, and I hope it makes you want to listen to the whole thing as well. All right, this next track is by Michael Manring, who is an incredible bassist from the San Francisco area. We featured him on the site several times. I've recorded music with him, which you can find on the channel, and I've hosted 2 concerts of his here in Arizona. This album came out in January 1998 and just blew my mind. The sounds, the textures, his bass playing, and just the overall feel, like the atmosphere of the album. I love it. And Paul McCandless, the incredible woodwind player, he's all over it. Just great musicians on here. Excellent album. Definitely check it out. Here's a track called The Book of Lies from the album The Book of Flame by Michael Manring. Okay, this next one is another bassist named Kev Hopper, who comes from a band called Stump, and several people in the comments of the previous video recommended I check out Stump. And just I happened to come across Kev's music, and man, it's wild. This album came out in February 2015. I give it a score of 3. The track is called Spozcranks, and from the album Kevlington. It's pretty out there, so I think you'll enjoy it. Check this out. Don't even ask me how people come up with this stuff. When I hear it, I'm just like, what on earth is happening? By now, if you're feeling like, okay, this stuff's getting a little too weird, there's 2 more tracks before we get to some more normal stuff. Okay, this next one, dang it, very strange. This one is called Carry Stress in the Jaw by a band called Mr. Bungle. I made a jaw dropper video about this album, Disco Volante. Incredible experimental album. October 1995 it came out, gave it a score of 3. It's all over the place, from techno to metal to jazz to literal nonsensical scat singing with made up gibberish. Most of the lyrics on this album are actually gibberish, and that's not an exaggeration. It's like sounds. But yeah, this track is, I think, the highlight of the whole album. So check it out. Okay, yep. That's Mr. Bungle for you. Okay, this next track is, well, it's a band that's no longer together called Evil Genius. They actually inaugurated or blessed or christened this very space, this studio, in 2018. I had them come out here and perform here in the studio to sort of open the space up. So it's Max Kuttner, who does so many great projects. He's a guitarist in this band. Check out his pages. He's always doing interesting projects. Mike Lockwood on drums, who, what an incredible drummer. So animated and incredibly creative. He's got an album called Bone Pocket, which is fantastic. And then Stefan Katch, I think is how you say his last name. I don't know if he's recording anything, but he plays tuba in this band, and he plays at Disneyland. So every time I go to Disneyland, I go say hi to Stefan, and he's incredible tuba player. I call this jazz bebop prog. Yeah, and this album came out in May 2018. I give it a score of 2, although it definitely ventures into 3 territory. This song is called Tour de Stadt from the album Experiments on Human Subjects. Yeah, great stuff. There's video of them performing here in the studio on the channel. Look up Evil Genius on Make Weird Music. Incredible performances. And the drummer, I was missing one of the feet on the floor toms, you know, rubber stopper thing. So it was making this really squealy noise, and it was kind of embarrassing for me. And all night he just laid into it, used it as a sound from the drum kit. It was so cool. All right, this next track is from Danilo Perez, who is a Panamanian jazz pianist. And this is when things start getting a little bit normal for a little while. Those of you who are waiting for something a little more digestible. Although it is a little strange, this song came out in August 2010. The track's called Galactic Panama. And Danilo has played with Wayne Shorter, Dizzy Gillespie, a whole slew of incredible jazz artists. And this song in particular, I started laughing when I heard it because it just sounds like someone who's like mashing their fists on the piano, but turning it into such a musical thing. I don't know what's going on. Maybe he's playing very intentional chords that I don't understand, but I love this track, and it's very like angular, strange. All right, here we go. How cool is that? Honestly, with that ostinato. Oh man, I love that track. But the rest of the album is not so strange. Excellent, excellent album. And the one before it, that's what got me hooked on Danilo. I can't remember the name of that one. Anyway, let's move on. The next track, it threw me for a total loop. I ended up making a jaw-dropper album about this, or jaw-dropper video about this album. Andy West from the Dixie Dregs, he and I used to work at the same company, and he took me into his car. He's like, have you heard this guy, Avishai Cohen? And I was like, no. And he played this track, and it was stunning. I didn't even know what to think. It's frenetic, it's fast, the time signature is uncountable. So something you need to know, Avishai Cohen is the name of a bass player who we're talking about. He's played with Chick Corea and has a huge catalog of solo music. But there is another jazz musician, also from Israel, named Avishai Cohen, who plays trumpet. So there's sort of like a, I don't know, I feel like there's an unspoken joke or a rule or something. Whenever one is mentioned or the other, it says the bassist or the trumpeter. Anyway, both are great. I love the music of both of these guys. This album has Shai Maestro on piano and Mark Juliana on drums. And man, let's just hear it. I give this a score of 1. It came out in 2008. Man, some of these songs I've heard so many times and they still bring something out in me. Okay, this next one is new to me. It came from the comments of the previous video. The album, or the band, is called Farmer's Market. They're like a Norwegian progressive rock kind of band. This album came out in April 1997. It's called Music fra Hybridin. I don't know how to say these words, but I think it means hybrid music. And the track is called Come On Baby, Do the Balkan Boogie. I gave this a score of 1, but it is still strange. They're kind of like Panzerballett, who I'll feature next, but no metal. It's just like surf folk music mixed with dance. I don't know. But unbelievable musicianship, blending genres, playing with rhythm. They are on Mike Patton's Ipecac label, so you can check that out. All right, here we go. Come on, baby, do the Balkan Boogie. right, so before we go, we have to hear the ending because this just blew my mind.
Take it through the bridge.
Unbelievable. When I heard that, I lost it. I ran over to my son. I'm like, you have to hear this. Anyone who was within earshot had to hear it. All right, this next one is from the band Panzerballett, who is they're led by my good friend Jan Serfeld from Munich, Germany. And I've done a bunch of content with Jan on the channel. So if you want to learn more about Panzerballett, check it out on Make Weird Music. This album, this was the first song I heard from Panzerballett that was like, what is going on here? They are a jazz metal band, so precise and tight, but still groovy. And they have another track on this album called the Zappa Medley from Hell. And this was like the hook, this song, Bird Wild Web, and the Zappa Medley just pulled me in. So I've been a forever fan probably since this album came out in September 2009. I give this a score of 2. Hopefully you like it. How cool is that? I think Jan's a genius. Okay, this next one, this was like the #1 requested artist in the previous video, and a bunch of people have asked me to cover this guy, Tigran Hamasyan. Unbelievable musician, for sure. He is a pianist from Armenia. I think of him as like if Avishai Cohen was into math metal. Very heavy jazz piano, and he's done a bunch of other non-jazzy, non-piano kind of stuff as well. But for this track called Space of Your Existence from the album The Call Within, came out in August 2020. It's a bit jazzy, and I think the album is awesome. I think Tigran is amazing. I just haven't gotten around to covering much of his stuff or even listening to that much of it. But I've heard a lot of it. I just haven't really dug in. Anyway, check out this track. Maybe you'll want to dig further. Yeah, it's awesome. It's heavy. It's hard hitting, and it's cool to listen to. I gave that one a score of 2. All right, this next track is a band called iNFiNiEN, and this is the song that got me hooked on them. It's called Oasis and came out in February 2017. I would call them like a modern prog band. They love making music. They are just so into it, and they're from Philadelphia. The singer Chrissy Loftus, I think that's her last name. She wrote this track. Amazing performer, vocalist, and keyboard player. Their guitarist Matt Hollenberg is always doing interesting stuff with John Zorn and a bunch of other experimental artists. So this is the track that got me hooked, and maybe you'll dig it too. And we do have a couple of interviews with iNFiNiEN on the channel.
Sure, we could stay here and argue all day till I let you in, or you let me in. But I'm growing old and the walls are growing mold. Think we need some air. I could run, but where? Got so used to letting go of valuable lessons to learn, or so I've heard. I was looking for more. Oh well, it was worth a try. Crawling through your desert. Heavy as lead, searching for my oasis, run out of hiding places, somehow survive.
I am such a sucker for 5'4", 5'8". Love that track. Okay, this next one is from another band called Man, and I did a jaw dropper video about this album called Six Demon Bag. You could say Man is kind of like Captain Beefheart meets Tom Waits meets circus music, although their newer stuff is much poppier and still very, very good. Very interesting, and we did an interview with the singer Honus, or Ryan, can't remember his last name. Anyway, we had him on the channel and to talk about their previous album, which was really awesome, so check that out. They have a brand new album called Carrot on Strings, just came out. I've only heard the first couple of songs, but yeah, I want to dig into it. Anyway, this album just blew my mind when I first heard it in 2006. I give it a score of 2, and this track is called Engwish Bwudd.
All I want to be is a shabbily bobbly gobbly goo.
The whole album, it just has a sound that, to me, was completely brand new. It just sounds like someone set up one mic in a huge room and there's like 30 people playing instruments. And actually, that's not too far off, because I've seen them live a couple of times, and it was just this huge group of people with... The stage was full of instruments and noisemakers and stuff like that. Incredible band, unbelievable energy. So yeah, check them out, Man. All right, this next one I already mentioned is from Gentle Giant, and this album, this song is a little controversial because it's my favorite Gentle Giant song, and it's most Gentle Giant fans' least favorite song. Or they don't understand, including the band itself. They're like, why is that your favorite song? I just think it's so strange, and I love how it turned out. It's just amazing. Composition exploration. If you are looking for more normal-ish sounding weird music, there's nothing on the rest of this video. So this is where it's just all maximum strangeness. All right, cool. Yeah, so this album came out in 1976. I give this a score of 3. And the song still blows my mind after listening to it a zillion times. Here we go.
Your music. Well, I guess we might continue. He sits and he thinks about all he's done in life. And now an old man, what have I been in life? What did I do? Had no head.
Okay, it gets a little crazy.
In my day, had to have certain future, but now you can.
Yeah. Go listen to it if you haven't heard it. It's incredible. Okay, this next track is from Misha Penton, who is a futuristic opera singer, and we had her on, I think it was last year's Christmas song. I do a weird Christmas cover most years. I don't think I did one for 2023. Anyway, she is a fascinating singer out of Houston. Nothing sounds like her music. It's just completely unique, and I don't know. Let's see what you think. This came out in December 2023. I give it a score of 3. It's from her album Earthshine. This is the title track, Misha Penton. Yeah, there you go. If you want more of that, go check out Misha Penton. She's awesome. Really, really out there thinker. Okay, cool. This next one is from Henry Cow. This album came out in 1979. The first track, just as soon as I heard it, I was like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And it took me a long time to even start hearing the motifs in the song. I made a video about this album, I think, on the Jaw Dropper series. And a whole bunch of people disagree with me in the comments, but like, apparently this is music that you don't really have to know a lot about music theory and stuff. But for me, until I started understanding what was happening and picking it apart and hearing the motifs, it was just meaningless noise nonsense to me. It took me a few years to get into it. It's avant-garde, angular. It's part of this movement called Rock in Opposition. Henry Cow's from the UK. You might have heard of Fred Frith or Chris Cutler, who came from this band. There is order in the chaos. Let's see if you can find it. And it does that for 6 more minutes. Yeah, great album. Score of 3. Okay, next one is Oh, you know what? I couldn't. This isn't on Apple Music. It's on Spotify though. So I'm gonna play it from Spotify. It is from composer Taylor Brook. It is a microtonal piano, I don't know, concerto or something, but from the album Virtutes Occulte, and it's just so out there, but it's incredibly beautiful. I think there's like 6 different pianos tuned to slightly different either temperaments or, you know, like A440, A338. I don't really know what is going on. I don't pretend, I just listen. Yeah, so Taylor Brook, he's a composer from New York City. That track's called Cloud Fantasia. There's a live performance on YouTube, which is just so cool. I watched it, I don't know how many times. And he has a new album out called Dichroma, solo guitar with AI interactive music generation software. I haven't checked that out yet, but Taylor, if you're watching, I'd love to talk to you about it. All right, I have no idea. This next track, I don't really know how to pronounce the band name. The song's called Mountain Book. The album's called Gold and Green. This recommendation came from the YouTube comments. Came out in September 2005. I give it a 3 on the weird scale. It's just unlike anything I've heard. It's musical, it's noise, it's just something. So let's see what you think. The whole album is kind of like this. It's just unusual, and I thought people should hear this. So I can't remember the name of the band that one of the singers or the kind of mastermind behind this group is in, but she co-formed this other band with the guy we're going to hear on the next track, who goes by Yamataka Ai, and this is a track he did with John Zorn. And I won't spoil any surprises here. This is just a weird track, and it makes me laugh every time I hear it. So that album came out in September 1995. It's called Nani Nani. The track is called Ipaman, and the whole album is full of screaming and violence, and I think it's amazing. So this one also came in the comments, so thank you to the YouTube commenters who are leaving this interesting stuff. If you've got stuff that you think belongs on the next playlist, leave it in the comments. I can't listen to all of it, so if you see something in the comments, say, like, yes, this is really good. Like, help me to be motivated to go click a link, because I also get a lot of you sharing comments about your own music, which has, like, sometimes 10 listens, and that's fine, but, like, I need to be able to share this with other people easily through these streaming services and whatever, and I need to get more votes, because otherwise it's just a lot of time sunk into listening to music that I don't have. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this playlist. Again, you can find it. It's called Make Weird Music, June 2024. And I really appreciate you sitting through all of this if you got this far. And I'd love if you click that join button under the YouTube player to join Club Weird and be part of our little community. All right, thanks a lot, everyone. We'll see you next month.